We're gonna take a quick ride. We're gonna take a quick ride to look at some of the fields to see how they're growing. The cover crop part. Whoop, what? What did you forget? Oh, okay. Checking the brakes, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't want to back into another vehicle. That's a good idea. There's one right back there. We are checking on some cover crops to see how well they are growing. We've had some rain the last week or so, so stuff should be growing. But we're at our first field, and Kevin will fill you in.
So we're at a field that we basically we hit it with a field cultivator, and we spread the rye, which you can see with a fertilizer spreader, and then we just color packed it. That's all we did with it. And the reason we color pack is to knock all the stones down, so that way in case we mow it. But this rye in this field here, we plan on using for seed for next year. So as you can see, it looks like it came up quite well. We've had an inch, probably since we planted it, we've had an inch and a half of rain. So this field here, we did, like I said, we broadcast it with a fertilizer spreader. We put on about 3.5 bushels to the acre because I like it to have a good thick stand. And this year, with it being so warm, it may have more time to stool out, but some years where it's cooler, it don't stool out as much, so that's why I like to plant just a heavier crop. So this field of rye here, we will not give it any fertilizer this fall. It did have some manure on it, but in the spring is when we'll fertilize it. When it first greens up, that's when we'll put on our fertilizer application for it. But
what kind of fertilizer will you use?
Just urea, dry urea, or urea, which is dry. So
yeah.
But yeah, you can see it looks like it all came up nice and evenly, and so this is one of the fields we're going to check today. All right, we're in a field that we took earlage off. This field here we no-tilled with the no-till drill, and as you can see, it's coming up. It's just starting to come up. It's coming through the trash. So this field here we're going to haul manure on. Yeah, this kind of experimenting with it a little bit, but we're going to haul manure on it kind of through the winter months, and I wanted to have something growing in it to just for nutrient management. So that way it kind of had something to collect the nutrients that we spread on it. And then in the spring we will put it under as what they call a green manure. Let it get 6-8 inches tall, and then terminate it. We'll either disc it, spray it. I don't know exactly what we'll do yet, but I see it's off to a good start. There's a lot of green growing, and that way hopefully, because we seeded this at like, this is rye grass. We seeded at about 30 pounds to the acre, and for us where we buy it from, that's about $12–13 an acre. And so if we can get 100 pounds to the acre of nitrogen out of it in the spring, plus soak up the manure that we spread, yeah, that should be well worth the investment.
Starting to sprinkle.
All right, in this field here, we this is actually what I like to put up for cow feed for the milk cows. We do a mixture of ryegrass and rye. We do 40 pounds to the acre of ryegrass, and then 2 bushels the acre of rye. It makes a very high energy, high protein mix, because ryegrass itself is, for the varieties that we've used, have been a little lower on protein but very, very high in energy. And the rye, which is cereal rye, has been very high in protein. So that makes a very good milk cow ration, which has a lot of milk in it. So in this field here, you can see, the rows of ryegrass here. We planted the ryegrass with a drill, and the rye, which is all this in between, we planted with a fertilizer spreader.
So rye grass is a finer blade, but the
Yep.
rye, cereal rye, is a broader leaf.
Yep. So this is looking good. We've had nice rains this fall to get it up. So really the cover crops, I mean, this is a harvestable cover crop. And we depend on this. This will give you a lot of tonnage of high quality feed in the spring. So stuff's looking good.
Checking on the late day corn. Yeah, happen to have been 2 different varieties in here, yes. This dry variety is the short day. This must be a little bit longer, but the this drier looking stuff got hit really bad with
Tar spot.
tar spot, yeah. And it just pretty much kills it. There's still a lot of moisture in the stalk yet, though.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
It's just affecting the leaves right now.
Yeah, but it's got a decent ear in it. So the ear is still filled. Yeah, I don't have just starting to dent. So.
The ear's just starting to dent?
Yeah, but no, we'll probably let it. It's going to be pretty wet yet, so we're still going to let it probably another couple weeks then.
Maybe after a frost, that'll
Yeah,
help dry it out too.
That'll help dry it out, because I don't want to put up wet feed. Yeah, I think it'll be. But yeah, definitely. I mean, if we didn't have the tar spot on it, it would still be probably green like that other number, which there must be another number in here then.
Yeah.
But I thought it was all 78 days for being planted.
Yeah, as late as it was.
Well, we had it figured out when we planted it that October 10th would be 78 days, so we're like 80 days right now.
Right now. Are you pleased that you planted the corn, or would you have rather done some other kind of crop?
Well, I mean, we're going to get, probably this will give us the most tonnage.
Compared to like sorghum?
We could have done sorghum, but sorghum here in our area, August 1st, end of July is kind of late to plant it to really get a nice big yield.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can mow sorghum August 1st and have it regrow. It makes nice yield. But to plant it then, it just seems like we're losing daylight. And the sorghum really likes to have daylight.
A lot of sunlight.
Yeah. But we'll see. Give it a couple more weeks.
You just had to run through a huge mud puddle. And you didn't put it in 4-wheel drive. Thankfully. Checking the last field. I think it's going to be our last field for today. Always got to do checkups. This is the sorghum that we cut. We mowed it. When did we mow this?
Oh.
A while ago.
A little while.
Yeah, and we actually came in and planted the ryegrass with Balanza clover. I have a video of that I can stick in right here. So right here's a row of rye and Balanza. It's coming up nice.
So they were talking that it really spends a lot of time rutting down, so I was going to pull one out here and see what it looks like. Oh, let's have a pretty good rut.
Does it make more of a tap rut?
Yeah, they're supposed to. That's what they claim, so.
Want to try another one?
Well, I was gonna. So if you look, yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know, they're really down about an inch.
But you can see how much taller the sorghum has. I mean, we could come in and mow this,
Wow,
but we are
so
wet. The only issue is...
This is on some very wet ground.
Yeah, and the other issue is if we come in and mow it and drive on the balanza, is that going to hurt it being so young and delicate? So, I don't know. It's hard to say if we should risk that and harvest it or just let the sorghum die when it freezes. Yeah, you can see there's rows in here between the sorghum rows. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, you might have to get a little closer. But
it's a nice green field. And if we don't harvest the sorghum, it will just be organic matter for next year's crop.
yeah, it's all nice. I just don't know if the sorghum, I said it wouldn't give a whole lot.
I mean, it would.
I don't know, walking through it is not as thick as what you think. So,
Looking at it from a distance looks good though.
so let's go over here to the what we planted.
Last?
Yeah, the last balanza that we planted. There's a lot of, well, here's a row. There's a row.
Yeah.
There's a row. There's a lot of volunteer weeds have come up too with us, but the frost will kill the weeds.
Yeah. So there's just a green hue over the field. But it looks good.
So far, yeah, looks good. It'll, as long as it overwinters all right, which they say it does. Supposedly it can handle down to 10 below.
So thanks for coming along on our checkup, our crop checkup.